MotoGP 25 is finally here, and right out of the pit lane, it's clear that this year's game is aiming higher. With refined physics, brand new bikes to mess around with, and more involved career mode, this could be the most complete MotoGP game we've had in a few years. But, is it? Does it actually feel better on the bike? And are the new game modes really worth your time? But before we dive into it, big thank you to Milestone, PLAION and Premier Comms for the review code. Let's get into it. Visually, MotoGP 25 makes a very strong first impression. Unreal Engine 5 looks great, and modern MotoGP broadcast is captured perfectly. There's a big emphasis on the tracks this year, and the lighting makes things feel punchier. I'm playing MotoGP 25 with my OLED ultra-wide at 3440x1440p, with HDR enabled on a RTX 5070 Ti, and it comfortably held around 90 to 110 FPS on maximum settings. No super sampling required, but it is there to take advantage of. Speaking of ultra-wide, there is some good and bad news. Racing is immersive with the 21:9 aspect ratio, but sticking out like a sore thumb is that heads-up display, stuck in its traditional 16:9 aspect ratio. Ultra-wide is far from a seamless experience, as once again the menus and replays are not fully adapted, and neither is the helmet cam, which is a missed opportunity. It's not the end of the world, but it's 2025, and Milestone really need to start capitalising on their ultra-wide gamers. Rider models, helmet reflections and dynamic weather all look better this time around in Unreal Engine 5, especially in rainy conditions, where the spray and visibility actually matter. Still, all of the animations feel recycled from MotoGP 24 and are very samey throughout. But now on to the big one. Gameplay and physics. That's what we're all here for, and that's what's most important about a MotoGP racing game. There's been a lot of talk about improved physics and bike feel this year, and you can definitely sense a change. Bikes feel nimbler, and gone is the incessant wheelie from MotoGP 24, and even first gear can be used again in the Premier class. But do be warned, downshifting too much does cause the bike to lose traction under extreme heavy braking. For those who struggle to match the pit limit speed upon entry will now be pleased to know that MotoGP 25 includes a pit limiter button, removing the stress of balancing the throttle on your way to the pit. Electronics do also feel improved, especially the ride height device. Deploying the RHD feels impactful and works as intended, much more akin to real-life MotoGP. Positive stuff, except one massive flaw. There's no vibration. For some strange reason in the PC Early Access, we are void of vibration. I'm sure I don't need to explain how much of a misfire that really is, but for those whom aren't aware, let me explain. Riding in the wet and the flat track game mode, which requires an inept feeling of the throttle, is completely lifeless. So you have to fumble your way around guessing if the correct throttle input is applied, which is causing slides, crashes, and massive burnouts upon starts. It's extremely annoying, and it has to be fixed immediately. Now, full disclosure, this is the early access version, so hopefully on day one this is fixed, but it's important to mention nonetheless. But even with no vibration, I've still sunk around 12 hours into MotoGP 25, and crashes have been minimal, which means I'm either great and I don't need vibration, or the game is much easier than I thought. And sadly, I think it's the latter. The challenge of riding seems less prominent than previous titles. Slamming on the brakes mid-corner in Moto3 and Moto2 and even the mini-bikes rarely resulted in a crash, which is a good sign for the newcomers and amateurs, but it's extremely disappointing to me as a veteran in bike gaming. Now, for David Bowie's absolute beginners, you can also play with the arcade experience, which means a much easier time to learn the game and be fast without too much practice. Now, a complaint in MotoGP 24 that fuel was effectively pointless. Now, unfortunately in MotoGP 25, it is the same. Power input makes a difference to the modulation, but there is no fear of running out of fuel unless something drastically goes wrong, removing an element of strategy for racing. But more on fuel later. Sadly, MotoGP 25 also suffers with that lack of tyre identity like last year's game. The MotoGP class has multiple tyres to choose from, soft, mediums and hard, which are true to modern MotoGP, but honestly, there's never a reason to not choose the soft tyres when available. Each of the tyres feel identical and all seem to wear out exactly the same way, removing again another strategic option for competition. It's another year of soft tyre domination regardless of track conditions. But nonetheless, do not fear guys and girls, there is a challenge, and that is the AI. Now, they may be artificial with no intelligence, but they are fast on the higher difficulties. And heck, they gave me a good run for my money. Adaptive AI has once again returned to MotoGP 25, and it does allow you to find a good balance between competitiveness and fun. One little gripe with the adaptive difficulties, it does give the appearance to rubber band. Riders you can slow down on the straights just to keep you sort of close, but on the flip side, if they sense a gap, they'll go for it. Sometimes from way back. Thanks, Marquez. Now moving on, let's talk game modes. We must discuss the brand new Race Off game mode. MotoGP 25 introduces 3 brand new bikes to use, and they are bloody brilliant. I have had tons of fun racing the mini bikes, the flat track, and the motard with the virtual MotoGP boys. The game mode is awesome, and I can't wait to take them online against you guys. It's fun, it feels different, and it's fresh. I love it. One minor snag is there is only 2 tracks available, but they are extremely well crafted and perfectly built for the bikes available. More on Race Off later. Career mode is back and it is revamped. Career mode was a massive improvement in MotoGP 24, and I am overjoyed to say that it's been reworked and developed. Rider transfers are back with an emphasis of forward momentum. Riders move up to the next class and slowly develop to become competitive. And the option to start your career mode with the transfers in immediate effect is a great option. It's always fun to fantasize about riders being on different bikes. Gone is the obligatory 3 races debut from last year's game. Now it's preset to join either one of the 3 classes immediately upon your career mode start. You'll build your reputation up to eventually be offered a new contract. And rivalries are no longer dictated by the game, as the now choose your path option has you fighting for different rewards. More reputation or more bike development. The choice is yours. Social media wall is back, which is slightly altered. It feels very rudimentary to pick the polite responses, as there's not really a benefit for being negative, unless you want to manufacture a story for your virtual alias. Every few rounds or so, you will be challenged or invited to participate in a race-off, using either of the 3 bikes. Rewards can be earned throughout this, which makes it feel worthwhile, and you can unlock brand new helmets, goggles and such. And something that is extra cool in the race-off in career mode is that it also introduces Moto 3 and Moto 2 riders in your career mode, so making the experience feel that much more immersive, knowing that the top stars of Moto 3 and Moto 2 will eventually join you in the race-off game mode. Now, unfortunately, I cannot test this next part due to early access, but multiplayer is online, and crossplay is fully supported across PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, finally allowing the Ace Academy to branch out to consoles and open the doors to my Ace Academy Cups. Get subscribed for online races if you're interested. But for those designers out there, customization is here, and you can share your helmets and numbers online to every platform. The customization is still pretty much exactly the same, which I guess if it's not broken, don't fix it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this part. Oh, but before we continue, shout out to the couch co-op players. Recording it on my own is tough and doesn't really do it justice, but split screen is definitely here. MotoGP Academy returns, time trial and a basic tutorial are all here in case you wondered. Now, quite honestly, the most subjective subject in MotoGP games is audio. And audio is subjective, but I feel strongly that it's good. This year the engine tones are punchy and clearly different across each categories and bikes. The most noticeable noise difference is the grunt and pop during the downshifts with the factory Ducati. With the right sound system, it feels bassy and impactful. A key point in sound design is the opposition's bike noises. MotoGP 24 had the other bikes sounding like angry bees sometimes, but here it's much more improved and intimidating when the riders are behind. From one insect to another, let's talk bugs. See what I did there? Because in Milestone fashion there is quite a few, and I already mentioned the lack of vibration, which is annoying, and I touched base on the fuel. I said sometimes dramatically things could go wrong. Well, it does. Somehow I ran out of fuel in Chang. Changing the power did nothing and resulted in a constant, irritating beep to alert you of your fuel woes, leaving you powerless. Literally. A minor but irritating bug is also attempting to customize the camera. I mean, what am I supposed to do here? I can't see anything. And also, randomly, this Yamaha seems off. Is that right? That livery just looks weird to me. Anyway, speaking of liveries, MotoGP class is fully up to date and raring to go, same as the official MotoGP tracks. But the lower classes are still yet to be finished. I'm of the understanding that Moto2 and Moto3 will be updated as early as next week. So fingers crossed they're updating them. And hopefully we can see the return of the beloved historical tracks. Because where the hell did they go? Where's my Donington? Where's Laguna Seca? But anyway, should you get MotoGP 25? If you're a MotoGP fan who skipped MotoGP 24, this is a solid improvement. It's more grounded, it's more bikes to master, and an improved career mode structure. But if you played 24 and you loved it, MotoGP 25 might feel more like a refinement more than a reinvention. Which might not be a bad thing, but Race Off is incredible, and we're bound to have some incredible full crossplay online races. And as accessible as the game might be, it is extremely fun, and I am enjoying it. There's still definitely room for improvement, especially in bike strategy, smarter AI, much more dynamic weather depth, and of course, squashed bugs. But I do feel quite strong to say that this is the most complete MotoGP game Milestone have released over the past few years. However, a lack of historical riders will always put it behind its predecessors. The game might be great, but it will never be as complete as those games that had historical riders and those additional content. For newcomers, diehards, and those hungry for something fresh, it is definitely worth a go. And I personally cannot wait to get stuck into career mode. Speaking of, career mode's coming out soon, so get subscribed. But for everyone else, keep an eye out post-launch and see what updates they bring to MotoGP 25. And that is my review. Thank you very much for watching the review. I certainly hope it's helped make your mind up, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Ciao for now.
Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.